Well, the royal family this week commemorated Holocaust Memorial Day with the King visiting the Auschwitz-Birkenau Concentration Camp in Poland, the first visit by any British monarch to the site.
And back in England, Princess Catherine was a last-minute addition to a London ceremony, joined by her husband, Prince William, as it was her first appearance since announcing her remission from cancer. We're joined by royal commentator Angela Mullard. Hi, Ange, nice to see you. Such a poignant scenes in Poland. What was King Charles's message to the crowd?
This was very much a personal pilgrimage for him. This was very much, according to the palace, not just the monarch, but the man visiting these survivors. His message to them was that you are going to be the last ones that we know. These were children in these concentration camps. And what he said was that the rest of us bear the responsibility of keeping those stories alive. So it was a very, as you say, poignant, very thoughtful ceremony for the monarch. And, you know, he is the first monarch to go there, so very significant, but he's had a lifelong connection with people who lived through the Holocaust.
Yeah. And for the Prince and Princess of Wales, it was a reunion of sorts for Catherine.
Well, Catherine had taken photographs back in 2020 of a couple of these survivors, beautiful photographs, in fact. So she met back up with them, and we didn't know that she was going to turn up. This is what's going to happen a lot more, that the Prince is going to be doing an engagement, and then Catherine will join him if it's appropriate. I love one of the Holocaust survivors said to her, William's a very lucky man to have you. And she said, yes, I'll tell him that. But she was incredibly empathetic, very, as you can see there, incredibly affectionate with some of these people. So there's a life. And one of them said, you know, obviously it's an ongoing friendship because he had received her Christmas card. So it's not just we take your photo and we move on. There is a relationship there.
That's beautiful. Now, being in the public eye for such a significant occasion, would this sort of thing be something that William and Kate are already preparing George for? I mean, they'd be preparing him for the day he was born, obviously.
For the day he was born, but he really only learned that he was going to be king around the age of 8 or 9. But William has actually spoken, he spoke in the last couple of days, about preparing George for this, about the information, age-appropriate information. But I think it also suggests that we may not see George go to Eton and be in boarding school. We may actually see him when he turns 13, being a day pupil and coming home every night, because Catherine and William are very engaged, and of course through Catherine's early childhood work, really focused on making sure that what happens at home is the basis of the king that he will be.
Proof that royal life isn't all palaces. Prince William stepped out to a worm farm. We saw some of these pictures earlier today.
This happened overnight in the UK. This is on the Duchy of Cornwall. I love this. This is apparently a Japanese method of growing worms. It's called bokashi, and apparently the King William, I mean, you know, you think of them just all in their tuxedos. He got right in there. He was not only handling these worms, there's plenty of them, he was smelling them. It almost looked at one stage that he was going to eat them, but he was, you know, look, this is part of being royal. It's not just all the posh stuff. He's genuinely engaged in this. In fact, the Duchy of Cornwall turned a $50 million profit last year, and he wants it to be net zero by 2032. So it's a very, you know, very much in line with the King's sustainability and environmentalism as well.
It's a lot of worms, $50 million. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have purchased a home, and you're like a holiday home.
A holiday home in Portugal. And it's not so much that it's in Portugal, but it's where it is. It's on the same estate where Princess Eugenie and her husband Jack Brooksbank have a house. Now, this is really interesting, I think, because what it means is that he is trying to forge and continue those relationships. We knew that he had a good relationship with his cousin, Princess Eugenie. Their children are the same age, so he wants to establish, of course, you know, his kids don't have any relationship with Kate and William's children. So also flying into Portugal for a holiday is a whole different kettle of fish to flying to London, where, of course, there's all those security issues that he's talked about. So I'd be really interesting. There'll be pictures on the beach of those cousins within the next 2 years, I reckon.
Yeah, okay. Some additional costs of last year's royal tour have been revealed.
An extra $60,000 for the Prince's staff to come over here to have recce tour, basically. Now, I don't think that's a lot, to be honest.
I thought you were going to say $6 million.
Well, the whole tour cost $600,000. And if you think about it, the Queen's tour before that in 2011 was $2.6 million. So 4 times the price of the King's tour. Of course, it was an abbreviated tour. But they did have to come over here. They had to talk about and find out about medical situation for the king. Of course, he still has cancer, if anything was to go wrong. So, look, there is a little bit of, why are we paying for this? But that seems like a low-cost tour for me. And I think they'll do more of those short 4 days, not the 3-week things we've been used to in the past.
Yeah. Kylie and I have approved those 60,000.
Well, gives you content, doesn't it? What would we do without them?
And now, finally for us, the marriage of King Harold and Queen Sonja of Norway is going to be documented in an upcoming drama series. This is quite an incredible love story.
I love this story. So these two are both 87. They've been married for 57 years, but the beginning of their relationship was all in secret. They had a 9-year secret relationship because Harold's dad, King Olaf, said, "You are not marrying a commoner." Her dad was a dressmaker, a merchant. He wanted his son to marry royalty. That was not going to happen. Olaf said you couldn't marry. Harold, and they even made a palace announcement saying he was not going to marry a commoner. Harold turned around and said to his dad, "Well, I'm not getting married then, and your line will just basically die out. There will be no monarchy." And the king capitulated. They've been married all these years, had 3 children, and it's been an incredibly successful partnership. So I can't wait to hear more about this story.
Oh.
Isn't it lovely?
Incredibly sexy then. I thought you were going to say that.
Successful. I'm sure it was sexy too. You
Sounds
look at them.
like
You
it.
should see how they look at each other.
Isn't Olaf a character in Frozen?
Yes.
But about 100 years before Frozen.
Yes.
Okay.
There was
a king.
Yeah,
okay,
a king.
Always relevant.
But good connection, though, yes. Keep it relevant.
You had heard of him somewhere.
Wow.